It's Halloween time, and what better way to celebrate than with an all-night horror movie marathon? But what if the secret film showing at midnight didn't just take you into another world figuratively, but literally as well? A new world full of inhabitants who are so very hungry to meet you.
Feel the chill in the air. Listen to the leaves rustle as they die and fall to the ground. It is Halloween. You will experience tales of horror, ghosts, and death. It is not recommended for the weak at heart. Join me for a tale of Halloween. This is Weekly Spooky.
Hello, my spookies. Well, it's not Wednesday. No, it's Friday. I feel like we've all gotten the groove of this 31 days of October spookies, although I am your very tired and happy narrator, Enrique Couto. I'm so happy to see you all back for another tale of Halloween terror. This one is a lot of fun and, believe it or not, you can listen to it with the little ones around. It's relatively family-friendly. I also want to mention that today we'll be dropping 2 programs at once. So you'll have this story first thing in the morning, and then a little later in the day will be the first ever episode of Weekly Spooky Radio. It's a little thing I put together with some bands I've been talking to. It's just a fun Halloween playlist with me as your DJ. So make sure you don't miss that. It's the perfect thing to listen to while you're carving jack-o'-lanterns or maybe the neighbors. Hey, I'm not here to judge. But before we get to tonight's story, I want to say thank you for listening so much. Halloween has been amazing here at Weekly Spooky. And if you want to support us in a direct way to make sure that we never stop the spooky, which we bring every single week, regardless of the time of year, you can go to weeklyspooky.com and click on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get a bonus story every single month and our undead gratitude. But if subscriptions aren't really your thing, we have a brand new Strickfield High sweatshirt available at weeklyspooky.com. Just go there and click on store. There's all kinds of fun items to help keep you warm in the very, very chilling winter months. Now, I'm looking forward to this story. It's all about an all-night horror movie marathon, which, ironically enough, myself and author Rob Fields did attend one last weekend. We went to Horrorama in Inglewood, Ohio, had a great time, and this story just makes me feel nostalgic. And we'll get right to it after these quick words. The Portal by Rob Fields. Carter Cross is standing outside my bedroom. You ready, Madeline? One sec, I tell him. He comes in and watches me finish a really tough level on Donkey Kong. It's an old school video game that Nintendo released many years ago. I'm playing an actual arcade cabinet Dad picked up for me a few years ago. It was all beat up and scratched, but I restored it and gave it new life. Yes! I cry when I finish the level. Since I know Carter and me gotta get going, I turn off the cabinet. After putting on my ball cap with a familiar horror hockey mask, I tell Carter, I'm ready. You always get your geek on with our horror-thons, Madeline, he tells me. He's right. In addition to my ball cap, I'm also wearing a Freddy Krueger t-shirt. I finished my outfit with jeans and sneakers. Who dresses you anyway? Carter jokes. Mom, I say without hesitation. She's picked up a lot of horror clothes for me. By the way, nice shirt yourself. Carter's wearing a Michael Myers t-shirt. Guess I don't want to feel left out. Nah, I'd never let you feel left out, buddy. Carter and I leave my room and head downstairs. Dad ain't home at the moment, but Mom's working on some artwork she was commissioned for. She takes the time to look up at us. I've heard people say she looks a lot like Violet from Friday the 13th Part 5. I'm so jealous of you kids, Mom exclaims. Then she groans. If I didn't have 2 projects needing finished by Monday, I'd totally go with you both. Yeah, little known fact, Mom, Carter, and me have done horror-thons together. In fact, she took Carter and me to our very first one at the Strickfield Drive-In Theater a few years ago. You went to all that trouble to find out about the lineup, and you can't go? Carter asks her. And thank you, by the way. I know, Mom groans. Maddie's gonna be haunting me in my dreams later tonight. Aw, come on, Mom, I groan back. Carter and me understand, really. Then Mom gives me some money. Bring me back a t-shirt? You got it, I tell her. We say our goodbyes and Carter and me leave. We're talking about tonight's lineup. Carter's really excited about seeing the director's cut of Veranda, Queen of the Night. Know how I'm going to Friday night sleepovers at Ariel Mirren's house? Carter usually catches Veranda on Friday nights on Channel 61. Anyway, I think Veranda's his favorite movie monster. It ain't long before we're coming into downtown Strickfield. Thanks again for all the tutoring you've been giving me for Miss Ridolfi's class, Carter says. I just aced her test today, so I got no worries about doing the horror-thon. Glad I could help, pal. Now we're gonna watch 12 hours of horror movies, scarf lots of junk food, and drink lots of caffeine. Believe me, I'm ready, Carter promises. Me too. Then Carter bumps my arm. Uh-oh. Don't look now, Madeline. Of course, I end up looking. Ariel Mirren, Mona Abels, and Bailey Downs are crossing the street to come and meet us. And you know they're going to be picking on me. Aw, man. Sorry, princess, I don't have any pop for you, Carter tells Ariel. Then he points past her. Maybe you can use King Daddy's royal credit card to buy a great big one at the horror-thon. Ariel glares at him. You just keep it up, Carter Cross. Then she shoves him. And you owe me for getting me detention today. Carter grins at her. Ooh, I'm so scared, princess. Then he glances at Mona and Bailey. You gonna sick your royal handmaidens there on me? Mona gives him a mean look, but Bailey snickers. She don't even hide it when Ariel growls at her. Then Ariel looks back at Carter and growls at him. Carter shrugs. Anyway, not my fault, princess. You were the one who started hitting me when I wouldn't bow down to you. Actually, Ariel wanted his bottle of soda and he wouldn't give it to her. Naturally, Ariel's gonna make a scene. Principal Benjamin Van Diest caught her and slapped her with a detention. Boy, if Ariel's looks could kill. Then she points right at me. And you are supposed to be coming over to my slumber party tonight. Or did you forget what day it is? I shake my head quickly. Sorry, Ariel. You know Carter and me always go to our horror-thons, even if they fall on a Friday night. Any other time I'd be coming to your slumber parties, but tonight ain't happening, I smirk. Unless you 3 want to join us tonight. Yeah, Ariel's mad at me too. I hate you, Mouse! I shrug. Sorry. Not sorry. Then Mona's given me this weird look. Wait a minute here. You 2 can't go to the horror-thon? Oh, that's right, Bailey agrees. Last I checked, you 2 ain't 18. In fact, none of us are 18. We ain't even old enough to drive. Carter's smirking now. This is true, but I raise my finger. But Carter and me are allowed in. I explained to the other girls how Carter and me were walking around Strickfield University last February because Mom sent me there to buy this exotic coffee she wanted from the Bitter End in Wilder Hall, the student union building. Then we get approached by these red-headed twins, the Corgan twins. They made a lot of horror movies around our area. Now they wanted Carter and me to be in one of their latest movies as a couple of kids for this mom and dad. While we was on set, we got to talking with the Corgans about all these different movies, mostly Roger Corman ones. I think it was safe to say Carter and me earned their respect. We also found out they're big with the university's film society, and they put on a lot of events in our village. They're the ones who are putting on tonight's horror-thon. Jesse and Jenny gave Carter and me both passes to be able to get in all the events we want. Yeah, they know we're both underage technically, but all we gotta do is show our passes and we get in. No questions asked. But then we get another surprise. These three giving you problems again, Maddie? Boy, do Ariel, Mona, and Bailey gasp when they turn and see Bella Tabon standing right behind them. And next to her is Aileen! I shriek with excitement. Maddie! She's just as excited to see me. The two of us quickly hug. Looking at us, you'd swear we were twin sisters instead of cousins. I mean it. We look exactly alike. Same height, we're very skinny, same brown hair, same mousy voices, same faces, same last names, and even the same Velma Dinkley-looking glasses. Standing together, there's only one way to tell us apart. Aileen's got brown eyes, and I got blue ones. You and Bells are doing the horror-thon too? I shrieked. Aini here practically handcuffed me and dragged me along with her, Bells mutters. Then she gets serious. Aini and I wanted to get out and go do something, so she suggested the horror-thon. And you two get to hang with us tonight. Bells calls Aileen Aini and is short for Einstein, a nickname her older brother Martin gave her on account of her being gifted with quite a brain. In response, Aileen calls Bella Bells. Oh, Ariel's really mad now. She ain't got her way all day long. Then she looks from me to Aileen and back. Why do there have to be two of you? Just why? Are you feeling okay, Ariel? Aileen asks her. Now Ariel's wide-eyed. How do you even know my name? Then she looks right at me. Oh, you! Then she belts out one of her blood-curdling screams. Aileen and I just look at each other now. Bells is giving us her own funny looks. Carter just shrugs. When Ariel stops screaming, Bells starts patting her on her head. There, you want some cookies? Ariel puts her finger right in Bells' face. You listen to me, you... Ugh! Turns out Bells really does have Halloween cookies. Guess she brought them to sneak into the horror-thon. Anyway, Bells ends up giving them all to Ariel, Mona, and Bailey. Happy Halloween, girls. Enjoy. Well, not quite Halloween yet, but it is the final weekend in October. Bells turns to Carter and me. We better get going. Ariel, Mona, and Bailey don't say anything as the four of us walk to the theater together. Still, I got a feeling Carter and me are going to hear about it on Monday at school. We walk a few more blocks before we reach the Strickfield Centennial Theater. We only got to wait in line for a little while, but we're up near the front. Soon as it's time, the theater starts letting people in for the horror-thon. Carter and me show our passes and Aileen and Bells show their printed tickets. Bells sends Aileen on ahead to get us good seats. Then Bells insists on treating us to the concession stand. Carter's surprised that Bells orders a lot of stuff, including lots of pizzas. She even ordered one for Aileen. Once we're getting everything, we take it back into the auditorium. Aileen calls out to us. She got us great seats. Before long, the Corgan twins are up in the front of the screen to kick off the horror-thon. They do announce one change to the lineup, to the secret midnight screening. Now, I told Carter that the director's cut of Veranda Queen of the Night was going to be the secret midnight screening. Carter's looking kinda bummed out, at least until the twins say it's replacing the Spanish version of Dracula because they weren't able to get the print in time. The biggest thing about the horror-thons the Corgan twins present is that every single movie is shown on real film. The Corgan twins say that a secret new film will be screening at midnight. There would be giveaways during intermissions and some short films playing. They thank everybody for being here and supporting both horror movies and Halloween. Then they tell everybody to have a great time. The lights dim and the first feature starts. We're all cheering when Veranda Queen of the Night kicks off the horror-thon. Man, you should have seen how happy Carter was. Carter even quietly tells us what's different about the director's cut scenes. But that ain't all Carter's getting when it comes to Veranda. After the movie's over, the Corgan twins spring a huge surprise. Vicky Valentine, who plays Veranda, is here in person. Aw man, Carter practically faints. But we're there with him when he finally meets Vicky Valentine in the flesh and gets her autograph. He also gets Aileen and me to pose for a pic with him and Vicky, which Bella takes. Bells does get an autograph, but doesn't pose for a pic. Ah, that's right, she can't. Vampires don't cast a reflection, which means she won't show up on pics. You okay, buddy? I ask Carter as we're taking our seats again. I can't believe I finally met Veranda, Carter gushes. I think I'm in love. Don't be letting Ariel hear you say that, I tease. Carter suddenly turns to me. Why, you little... When I laugh, he playfully pulls me into a headlock and rubs his knuckles on my noggin. Then he lets me go. Carter points at me. You just keep dreaming, Madeline. But I definitely know better. In fact, Carter's checking his phone. Not only does he have a wallpaper of Ariel, they even have each other's numbers. 'Cause he's texting with her right now. And I know for a fact Ariel don't give her phone number to just anyone. Speaking of phone numbers, Ariel made sure she texted me too. I hate you, mouse, with a little mouse emoji. The second feature is the original Halloween. Aw, man, Mom's gonna be so bummed when she hears this one was playing. This is our movie. In fact, it was the first one at our first horror-thon together. As we're watching the movie, I can't help noticing Bells is in the middle of her 5th whole pepperoni pizza. Bells is a very unique form of master vampire. She don't drink blood, so she's got to eat lots and lots of food to get her nutritional requirements. No problem for Bells since she loves food, especially from Denoyer's Grill. We're having fun now, but things are about to get a lot more interesting. Real soon.
You're not safe yet. Weekly Spooky will be right back.
Another intermission comes. Then the Corgan twins appear and do a couple of giveaways. I even remember to buy Mom her Horror-thon t-shirt. When I get back, they're starting to announce the secret midnight screening. It's a new film that's supposed to be called The Portal. Ain't none of us ever heard of it. The Corgan twins say they attended a secret screening of it and that it was really good, so they had to secure it for the Horror-thon. Soon as they walk out, the lights dim and the movie starts. The Portal ends up being about this group of teenage kids, like high schoolers. They end up running from this gang who was chasing them down. Before long, they take refuge in a cemetery and break into a crypt to hide. They lose the gang, but they get real tired and fall asleep in the crypt. Next morning, things get weird when they walk around in the town they live in. Everybody's giving the kids weird looks. Turns out everybody in the town is all vampires. The kids are on the run now. Along the way, some of them either fall for the vampires or become vampires themselves. Long story short, they learn they're in a parallel universe where everybody on this earth is a vampire. In the end, the kids never return to their universe again, and the last one's got to fake being a vampire to hide in plain sight with them. Suddenly, I gasp and open my eyes. I look and see Carter, Bells, and Aileen are still in the theater with me. No movies are playing, no lights are on. We can see the auditorium's big time trashed. Did we fall asleep and miss the rest of the horror-thon? Aileen asks. I don't recall falling asleep, I say. Yeah, me either, Carter mutters, shaking his head. Aileen looks at Bells. I know you couldn't have fallen asleep. You never sleep. Bells stands up. Okay, I think it's safe to say something ain't right here. For one thing, where are all the pizza boxes? What, you're still hungry, Bella? Carter asks in surprise. No, don't you get it, Carter? We never got up to throw anything away. If we did fall asleep, then those boxes should still be right here. We're all quiet for a bit. Then I say, we might as well head outside and see what's up. Let's go, Bells agrees. The four of us leave the auditorium. Even the lobby's a mess. Not only that, nobody's manning the concession stand. Then we walk outside. Where is everybody? Aileen asks. Church? I pipe up. Bells looks my way. On a Saturday morning? Oopsies. Then I sigh. What do we do now? We look around for a little bit. Hey, it's still night out here, I quickly notice. That or there are storm clouds up there, Aileen says. I look at my smartwatch. Huh, what gives? I got blanks where the time ought to be. We look at our smartphones and get the same results. Maybe something happened and the theater got cleared out, I suggest. And they just left us sitting in there, Carter mutters. I shrug. Just trying to make sense out of all this, buddy. Maybe we should see what's going on at home, Aileen throws out. We talk about it and decide to do just that. The computers should be working, Aileen says. Message us as soon as you get home, Maddie. You too, Carter. Carter nods. Then we split up. Carter and me walk until we're back in our neighborhood. So far, nothing out of the ordinary, but... Where is everybody, Madeline? Carter asks. We ain't seen a single person since we left the theater. Then I tap his shoulder. Looks like familiar faces. We both look to see Ariel, Mona, and Bailey across the street. When I wave at them, they just stop and look at us in this weird way. Now Ariel motions for Mona and Bailey to come with her. They cross the street and approach us. When they get close enough, they all gasp. Ariel! Mona cries happily. I know. Ariel groans, seemingly with relief, and shows us a huge smile. Food. Huh? I utter. What you mean, food? Before Carter can say anything, all three girls open their mouths. Are you seeing this, Madeline? Carter stammers. Yeah, you know I'm seeing it, but... Run! Carter and me turn away from him and run fast. Foolish mortals! Ariel calls out. When will you learn? Suddenly, Ariel appears right in front of me. She puts her hand on my neck and lifts me off the sidewalk. I'm trying to get down, but she's got me up here good. Ariel's hands are so cold. And how'd she get so strong? Next thing I know, Ariel brings me down and pins me up against a tree. I shriek when I see how red Ariel's eyes are now. Her fangs are glistening and sharp. Then I see how pale her skin is. Usually Ariel's got some of her summer tan left over during October. Help! Carter yells. I look over Ariel's shoulder and see Bailey and Mona have Carter on the ground. You two can have Carter, Ariel tells him. I'm going to dine on a delicious little mousie. I'm just so glad we have food again, Bailey squeals. Shall we, Mona? We shall, Mona murmurs. You're going to taste so good, Carter. Even better than Denoyer's Grill's cheeseburgers. Ariel glares at me now. This is what you get for ditching your girls for a horror-thon, mouse. No! No! I scream. Then I suddenly drop out of Ariel's grip and scurry right between her legs. I come back up and quickly shove Mona. Carter fights back now and shoves Bailey off him. When Carter's back up, I quickly grab his arm and we run. We see our houses and go right to mine since it's there first. We quickly go inside and slam the front door shut. Go check the back, Carter. He didn't need me to tell him twice. He quickly locks that door. I do the same with the front. Open up! Ariel screams. I hate you, mouse. Oh, you wicked little rodent, Mona yells. You really think these doors are going to keep us out? Bailey teases. Carter points to me. Listen, vampires can't come in unless you invite them, right? I gulp hard. Last I checked. Then Carter gulps too. How do we know we ain't like those girls outside, Madeline? Or what if we're turning? Now I'm real scared. We gotta find a mirror. First we can confirm we got reflections, then I can summon Mary Worth, the spirit of a witch who's possessing me. All I gotta do is say her name 3 times in a mirror, and then she can take over my body and stop these vampires. Suddenly we hear movement on the stairs. Then we see Mom coming down. When she sees us, she smiles. Maddie, you're home. What's the matter, honey? You two might as well just let us in right now, Ariel yells. Go back to your coffin and get your beauty sleep, princess, Carter yells back. Not that it'll do you any good. Carter? Oh, you! And that sets off another one of Ariel's blood-curdling screams. Mom's dressed in her pink clothes like she usually is, but something's wrong here. Mom's skin looks just as pale as those vampires outside. "Come to Mom, Maddie," she says, not paying attention to the girls outside. "Let me sire you so you can keep being my little girl. Then we can dine on Carter together." "Oh, man," Carter chokes, shaking his head slowly. "Not you too, Mrs. Donnerly." We both scream when Mom shows us her fangs. Then she raises her hands, which are claws now. Carter and me are backing up when she's moving closer. "Aw, why are you like this, Mom?" I stammer. I'm now seeing things more. No mirrors anywhere, and all the windows are painted black. "You don't get it, Maddie," Mom growls and holds her tummy. "There's no more food. One day many of us woke up to find we were vampires. We claimed many of the mortals that didn't turn. What few were left managed to escape and form a resistance. We're so very hungry. The only way we could find food quickly was to open a portal that would allow us to gather mortals from other realities." Carter and me look at each other. "Guess that explains how we woke up in the theater all by ourselves, Madeline," Carter says. Then I understand something else. "That means you ain't really my mom, and those girls outside ain't really our friends." Suddenly, Ariel bursts right through the front door. Mona and Bailey are coming in right behind her. "We gave you and Carter both a chance to be reasonable about this, mouse," Bailey says. "Guess now it's survival of the hungriest," Mona adds, licking her fangs. "I know you've always had an eye for me, Carter," Ariel laughs. "Now you can know the feeling is entirely mutual." Then Carter acts. He quickly dives for 2 pieces of wood from the broken door and puts them together into a cross. Ariel moves her hands out in front of her and hisses. Then Bailey and Mona do the same. Mom just gets back. "You're a genius, Carter!" I cry. I quickly pick up 2 pieces of wood and make my own. At first, the vampires don't seem to be afraid of me. Then I figure out why they're afraid of Carter. When you use a crucifix against a vampire, you have to have faith for it to work. Fright Night sure got that one right. Suddenly we hear the back door explode. Aw, man, more vampires breaking in looking to have Carter and me for dinner. Next thing we know, we're both being snatched up. "These 2 are mine!" I almost cry out Belle's name, but that would have given us away fast. Bells quickly turns and kicks the huge front window out. Then she takes us out through it. "Come back here with our food!" Ariel screams. Bells leaps off the porch with both of us. "Good thinking with those crosses," she tells us. Wait a minute. You're a vampire too?" Carter shrieks. "It's okay, Carter. Bells is on our side," I tell him. Then I ask her, "How'd you know to come back for us?" "We'll talk about it as soon as we meet up with Aini." "They're turning into bats," Carter quickly tells Bells. "Yeah, I expected as much. Hang on, you 2. Bells leaps into the air again and eventually ducks into an alley with us when she lands. The bats are soon flying right over us. "You 2 okay?" Bells asks when she knows it's safe. We both nod quickly. Then Bells nods once. From there, she grabs hold of us again and jumps back up into the air. After a few more jumps, we're at a church. We go inside the wrecked church and find Aileen sitting on top of the altar. She's very happy to see Bells brought us. When we reach Aileen, she quickly holds out a cross. "Touch it, both of you."
Are you afraid? Good. Weekly Spooky will be right back.
I touch the cross without hesitation. When I don't burn, then Carter touches it. Aileen sighs with relief. "I'm so glad you guys are okay." Bells says, "As soon as me and Aini got home, Martin was right there. Funny thing, he didn't recognize me, but he was oh so eager to sink his teeth into Aini." "Yeah, Madeline and me just found out we're in a different universe," Carter says. "Her mom knew about it. Yeah, it's like Marvel zombies, except everybody's vampires here," I say. Bells gives us funny looks. The three of us quickly explain the plot behind that comic book series. "You'll have to let me read that one if any of you got it," Bells says. "Or you guys could have said it was like The Last Man on Earth." "Sorry," I squeak. "Mom did say not everybody got turned. She never said what caused it either. She just said one day they woke up and they were all vampires." "But how did they get to us?" Carter asks. I don't get it." "Think, Carter. What was the one thing that was weird earlier?" Aini asks. "We were at the horror-thon," Carter recalls. "That's it! We were watching that secret movie." "That's what Bells and I came up with too," Aini agrees. "We decided that the film had opened up some kind of portal to let those vampires come into our reality and bring us to theirs," Bells says. "You think they got everybody else in the theater?" I ask. "Hard to say, Maddie," Aini replies. "If we ended up in the theater by ourselves, I'm guessing the other people were either taken by the vampires or they escaped. And the ones that were taken probably became food for the vampires, or they became like them by now," Carter adds. "I mean, they are starving, right?" "That would make sense," Bells agrees. "So, what do we do now?" I ask. "We gotta figure out how to get back home," Aini says. "We can't stay here or we're going to end up being food or becoming vampires ourselves. Well, aside for you, Bells." Bells sits next to Aileen on the altar. "No telling how long we're going to be safe in here, so we need to come up with a plan fast." I quickly raise my finger. "Hey, wouldn't Strickfield Academy have weapons against the vampires? I mean, they're supposed to be a parochial institution, right?" "I was just going to say that, Maddie." Then Aileen and me slap fives. "You twins realize that's a long shot, right?" Bells asks. "Like I said, we can't stay here." "There's a car out back," Aini says. "Think you could start it, Bells?" "Once I hotwire it." Aini nods and then hands Carter and me crosses and some packs she made up. "Vampire survival kits. You both know what to do with the crosses. There are wafers and a few bottles of holy water inside. Use them only if you have to, and don't drop the crosses. Above all, make sure you have faith." "You don't gotta tell me twice," Carter says quickly. We leave the building out the back and get into the car Aileen mentioned. After Bells hotwires it, she's driving us to Strickfield Academy. "I wish I knew what time it is," Aini groans. "It sure would be nice to know when the sun's coming up." "For all we know, the sun might not be coming up," Bells says. "I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here. Believe me, the thought crossed my mind too," Aini admits. "Bats in the air," I quickly call out. "Lots of them." "Hang on," Bells yells. She floors the gas and drives across Strickfield University. It ain't long before the bats are really flapping their wings. Then I suddenly remember cars have mirrors, but I groan when I see the rearview mirror and the door mirrors are broken out. Guess these vampires didn't want any mirrors. Period. When we finally reach Strickfield Academy, Bells drives right through the main gate and up the driveway. When we reach the main building, Bells screeches to a halt, and we get out. "Follow me," Bells tells us. Bells pulls one of the main doors open, breaking the lock in the process. As soon as we're in, she quickly pulls the door shut. "That won't keep them out." Bells points to another door. "Run!" We turn and run down the hallway. Soon we're running through the cafeteria. It ain't long before vampires are showing up. We raise our crosses and keep them back. We run out of the building and head into another one. Now we're running into a gym. Bells points to me. "You need to find a mirror." "I'm trying," I say. "Mirror?" Carter wonders. "For what?" Then my tummy drops when I see the windows out of the gym doors. "Lots of bats out there. We can't go back outside again." Then Bells sees something when we're leaving the gym. "There's a chapel right over there." As we run into the chapel, I know right away if we end up trapped in here. "No, I gotta find a mirror. I gotta." "Madeline!" Carter yells when I turn and take off running. "Just trust me on this, Carter," I call back. I got an idea where I might find a mirror. Soon as I go back into the gym, a vampire tries grabbing me, making me lose my cross. I quickly drop to the gym floor and crawl between his legs. I spring back up and head into a nearby locker room. I run through it looking for a mirror. If we're gonna have any hope of making it out of here, I gotta be able to call Mary Worth. I'm checking all over the place. Come on, there's gotta be a mirror. Then I suddenly stop, slipping and falling on my keister when I finally see it. I quickly pull myself up and move to the mirror. It's right then when the vampire grabs me from behind and lifts me off the floor. No! Then I scream and struggle with every bit of fight I've got left in me. When the vampire's struggling to keep a hold of me, I quickly push back and make him fall over a bench in a locker area. I fall over myself and quickly crawl to the mirror. The vampire's quickly on me again, thanks to that warping thing they do. I quickly say Mary Worth's name 3 times. Suddenly, the vampire's forced off of me when the energy comes out of the mirror and into me. I feel the essence of my ghostly friend taking over my body until I'm nothing more than a passenger now. We're in a real bad fix, Mary, I tell her. I shall do what must be done, Madeline. In the meantime, you are safe now. Mary turns and sends the vampire flying away from us. Then she floats through the walls until she comes into the chapel where everybody else is. Carter gasps when he sees the ghost of Mary Worth. For the record, only Aileen and Bells know my secret. Bells looks relieved to see Mary. If you know what's going on, I do. Mary chants a witch spell. Suddenly, the power of the white light appears at the doors and windows. It ain't sunlight, but it sure drives the vampires away like it is. Aileen's got an idea. Why didn't I think of it before? We need to get back to the theater and restart that movie. We listen as Aileen explains she believes that the film, The Portal, brought us into this alternate universe where everybody's a vampire. Nobody has any objections to going back to the theater. Listen, Aileen, if you're wrong about replaying that movie and it don't get us back home, we're not only stuck here, we're goners, Carter stresses. Then he realizes, hey, where's Madeline? Madeline is safe, Mary tells him. I assure you that she shall be with you again upon your return home. Carter ain't sure if he can trust Mary, but Bells and Aileen both assure him everything is gonna be okay. We just have to fight our way through those vampires to get back to the car, Aileen mutters. Leave the fighting to me, Bells says. You guys just be ready to roll when I open the door. That shall not be necessary, Bella Tabon, Mary tells her. Mary conjures up more white light to teleport us back to the Strickfield Centennial Theater. Just like that. Soon as we're outside the theater, more vampires are crawling out of the woodwork. Inside, Mary instructs everybody. As soon as we're in, Bells holds the doors shut. Mary seals them with the white light, and that's when I finally solve the mystery about how all this happened and quickly tell Mary. Be on your guard, Mary warns the others. We may have unexpected company awaiting us within this structure. We move and head back into the auditorium. You're much too late, we hear from up in the projection booth. Mary floats up at the same time Belle's vampire warps into the booth. I was right, Mary, I cry. I knew it had to be them. It was the Corgan twins. I didn't want to point fingers at them, but it was the only thing that made sense. They were the ones who put the portal in as the new secret midnight screening, right? I'm pretty sure these ain't our Corgan twins, though. These vampire versions were probably sent here to bring an unsuspecting crowd to their universe. These 2 red-headed bees destroyed the film, Bells yells. We're stuck here! Then Mary floats through the wall and into the projection booth, just as Bells slams the Corgan twins into a wall to daze them. All is not lost here, Bella Tabon, Mary says. We shall return home shortly. Mary uses her witch magic to restore the film. Well, that's great. Unfortunately, I don't know how to work one of these things, Bells says. Looks like I'm gonna have to come back out, Mary, I tell her. That is not possible without a mirror, Madeline. Mary thinks back at me. Can you make Aileen appear up here then? I ask. Good thinking. Mary magically makes Aileen appear in the projection booth. Einie, you gotta mount this film and run the projector yesterday, Bells quickly tells her. I got this. Aileen picks up the top reel and moves to the projector. We don't need the entire film, do we? This is just the first part. We shall see soon enough, Mary says. Proceed. Aileen quickly mounts the film, making it look real easy. Then she turns the projector on and starts the movie. I don't know when the magic is supposed to happen, you guys. Leave that to me. One final time, Mary uses her witch powers on the film to open the portal and bring us safely back to our Strickfield. Suddenly, we find ourselves back down on the floor and back in our seats where we were before everything went crazy on us. The theater's still full of people enjoying the horror-thon. I'm back to being me again and quickly check my smartwatch to see we're in the middle of the secret midnight screening. Believe it or not, the Corgan twins and Vicky Valentine end up presenting the director's cut of Veranda, Queen of the Night after all. Funny thing, we all end up remembering the first movie being the 1990 version of Night of the Living Dead. We'd compare notes later to learn we remember both realities. We end up making it through the rest of the horror-thon and don't get out of there until around 9:30 on Saturday morning. Bells and Aileen walk Carter and me back to our house just to make sure everything's okay. In fact, Mom opens up, glad to see all of us. She invites everybody in and we talk about the horror-thon for a little bit. Of course, we leave out our little side adventure. Anyway, Mom was real happy to get her t-shirt and she never once does anything to say she's a vampire. When everybody leaves, Mom offers to make me breakfast, but I tell her I'm going to bed. She kisses me goodnight and I head upstairs. When I'm getting ready for bed, I talk to Mary in the bathroom mirror. She tells me we should be safe from those vampires from that other universe. After she used the white light to make the film send us back, she destroyed it again. What if they have or make another print of the portal? I ask her. We can only hope that they do not, she replies. I hate to say it, Mary, but I get the feeling we ain't seen or heard the last of this. Even Bells said that on the way home. All that we may do is deal with it should things transpire as such again. But for now, go and rest yourself. We shall talk again soon. I say goodnight to Mary and head off to bed. As I'm about to fall out, I get a text from Carter asking if I want to go trick-or-treating tonight. I tell him I'll gladly go with him when I get up. Anyway, I'm really tired, so I'm going to say goodbye to you all until our next adventure. See you soon. I have to say I'm really digging this concept of Mary Worth being a protector of the children of Strickfield. I hope you are too. We had another story involving Mary Worth and her cavalcade of friends, which aired earlier in the week. That was Return to Crybaby Bridge. If you missed it, you may want to go back and check it out. I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. I gotta tell you, I had a great time recording Weekly Spooky Radio, so I do hope you check it out. It should release this same day, right on the Weekly Spooky feed, and it's the perfect thing to listen to while you're getting ready for Halloween activities this weekend. I actually, in a shocking turn of events, tonight, Friday night, will be going to a haunt in the Dayton, Ohio area, one called Face Your Fears, Hotel of Terror. I'm really excited to check it out. I never get a chance to do spooky stuff like that outside of the crypt because I'm always recording shows and working like a dog. But I'm making an exception, and I'm super excited about it. And a big thank you to those who've written in to let me know that we're helping your spooky season kick into full gear. And I want to say a big extra special thank you to our Patreon podcast boosters. These are folks who pay just a little bit more to hear their names at the end of every show. And they are Johnny Nix, Bobbletopia.com, Megan Hua, Julia Kirsch, Brent McCullough, Steve King, Karen Weemet, Jack Kerr, and Craig Cohen. And a big shout out to Johnny Nix over working in his automotive shop. I know that we keep him in stitches while he makes sure your tires and oil change go off without a hitch. So take care, Johnny. Keep working hard and keeping people safe on the road. But now, my friends, it's time for me to hop out of here. But hey, remember to head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us 5 stars, make sure new spookies find the show, head to Facebook and type in Weekly Spookies Tomb of Terror, hang out with me and the authors. But now, I gotta get out of here. So for myself, for my executive producers Rob Fields and Joshua Butler, our producer Dan Wilder, and our composer Ray Mattis, I'll talk at you tomorrow for another story.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to find your way back next week. But for now, you are safe. Trust me.